Yo, good morning, Hustle Nation. Today, we've got Devon Moody-Graham in the building talking about the rise of the Black female entrepreneur as we continue on our journey of Black Economic Empowerment Week right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. You guys do not want to miss this. It is about to go down. So do me a favor, go ahead and comment in the chat where you're from. Drop the name of your business and on your brand if you like a free business shout out. And if you stick around to the end of this show, Devon is going to share with you an opportunity to connect with her on a 30-day journey, ladies and gentlemen. So let me know in the comments who you are, where you're from, the name of your business and or your brand, and smash that share button and let's get into it. Yo, what's up, Ultimate Hustlers, and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show, the business podcast for the entrepreneur of the 21st century. And I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. Our goal is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the world's greatest hustlers build amazing brands, scale their businesses to incredible heights, sell more, make more, and create mass movements that impact the world. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned vet or you're sitting on the sidelines with aspirations to one day unleash your inner hustle. This show will provide the insights into how pure grit, determination, and hard work has morphed into some of the most iconic brands and personalities and how they are moving the culture forward. You'll get a mix of solo shows featuring yours truly, as well as interviews and content from other hustlers that I either know personally or I've learned from or whose grind I've come to know and respect. And you'll also get exclusive recordings from our membership called Monetize My Life Academy, which you can check out at monetizemylifeacademy.com. That's a program where we go live every month with some of the best hustlers on the planet, sharing best practices on how we all can explode our brands with advanced branding and marketing tactics, business development strategies, and financial game planning necessary to build the empires we all desire. Again, that's at monetizemylifeacademy.com. If you like today's episode, chances are the hustlers you're connected to will like it as well. Share it with those in your network, and when you do, use hashtag Cortez Hustle so I can see you and hopefully give you a shout out and share you in my stories. So check out today's episode and make sure you subscribe to the feed on your favorite podcasting networks. All right, Hustle Nation, welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show this morning. It's about to go down. I am, of course, your host, aka Cortez Hustle, also known as the financial health mentor, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur from monetizemylifeacademy.com, where we want to help you turn your gifts, talents, special abilities into digital property. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing like the intellectual capital that you have sitting in your head, just sitting there and not doing anything. You are literally sitting on a gold mine with all of the knowledge you have, and I want to help you mine it out. We have a boot camp coming up next week where we're going to talk about 7 different ways to turn your knowledge into income using digital products and social media. If you're interested in that, go ahead and comment keyword boot camp, and I will share that link to get you guys all rocking and rolling. I got a great guest coming up for you guys today. She is an amazing powerhouse. So before I get to that, let me go ahead and give you guys my announcements for the day. I'm looking for about 2 more single mothers who want to increase their cash flow, improve their credit, get their taxes down, learn how to invest and build a long-term retirement, and add another stream of income to their household. If that is you, comment single mom, and let's hop on a phone call and let me see if this is going to be a good fit for you. If you know a single mom, then tag them in this post so that I can connect with them as well. And shout out to my man, Amari, for winning yesterday's free vacation because he commented on the question of the day. And today's question, let me give it to you now. What are you most worried about in the future, right? Or what worries you most about your future? If you comment on the question of the day, put QOTD, then give your answer. that will allow my team to get you in the drawing for next week's free vacation. What worries you most about the future is the question of the day. Now, without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to somebody whose grind I've come to know and respect. Been watching her from afar, connected through a mutual friend. Shout out to my girl Ariel over at Young Biz Kids and all the things that she's got going on. But Devon Moody-Graham has helped over 500 businesses and even more youth entrepreneurs and understanding the power of business and entrepreneurship. She is a founder and the CEO of an organization called CEOMom Empire LLC, where she does what I do, man. It's all about the entrepreneurship game, man, and helping people level up and boss up. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce to some and present to others, Miss Devon Moody-Graham. Top of the morning to you, sis. How are you?
I'm great. Good morning. Good morning.
Awesome. Well, before we get into your story and about who you are and all of that stuff, man, I like to do something called the quote of the day. Now, if you have a favorite quote, you could share that, and that's how we open up the show. Or you can just chime in on the quote that I have for today. But this quote is a Jim Rohn classic. And I'm paraphrasing because I've heard him say it a bunch of different ways. But basically, the gist of it is this: don't pray that it were easy. Pray that you were better, right? In my best Jim Rohn impersonation, right? Because when you think about that, it's when I'm in the gym and I'm working out, if I lift the weight that I normally lift, then all I'm going to do is maintain. But if I'm trying to get better, I got to put some heavier weights on that thing that I'm going to struggle with. I'm going to need a spotter to help me. And if I keep trying that, then I get better, then I get stronger. And guess what happens? That thing that I was praying for would be easy. It actually becomes easy because I got stronger. You got a favorite quote, or do you want to share your thoughts on that?
You know what? I like that because it gets us out of our comfort zone. Mm-hmm. And so it's saying, don't do what's easy. Let's take it to the next level. So I like that quote. So I would say there's something that I'm going to have to put into my toolbox because I'm big on getting people out of their comfort zones.
Nice. Love it. All right. Well, that was the quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show with Devon Graham's input as well. So as we kick this thing off, man, tell everybody, Devon, who the heck is Devon Moody-Graham?
So I am an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur. I started with a candy store at 10, and my dog is now barking. Has not worked out for you, right? Decides now you're talking. I started, come from a family of entrepreneurs and have always known that I wanted to go into business, but not quite sure what area. But with my parents having cosmetology and my dad being a cobbler, I really saw that there's so many Black entrepreneurs who know their craft, but really have never been educated on how to fully grow and scale businesses. And so it led me to becoming a consultant after college. And so originally, that wasn't the plan. My undergrad is in consumer and textile marketing. I planned on moving to New York, but my senior year in college, shortly before my senior year in college, I was pregnant with my son. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to stay in St. Louis. At the time, St. Louis was the headquarters for Famous Bar, which was May Company. And literally, I graduated. The merger happened with Federated and headquarters moved to New York. I was like, really? I had this entire plan. I worked at Famous Bar since I was 16. I worked there in college. I was on the management track. I was like, I'm going to be a buyer. And then everything shifted. But it happened the way it was supposed to happen. With my background in consumer psychology, and it really set me up to be a great consultant. I love working with my small business clients. I do a lot of strategy for nonprofits as well as universities and business development, business counseling to really set people up to win so that they can understand that there are several phases to business and setting them up to win and grow, because that's something that is a challenge in underserved communities and in communities where these economic resources are not, they're available, but people don't know about them. No one's saying, hey, this is how you get government contracts. This is how you get to the big dollars. And so that's my goal, is to make sure that we have access to those resources, because being creative and creating solutions is something that we innately do. It's all about helping us connect to those resources, such as things that you provide, helping us take that knowledge and turn it into digital products and really set our lives up and our families up for generational wealth.
Yeah, and I think that is huge. And when I talk to you about what I really want to bring to this show, I told you that I believe that the shortest distance between working class and wealth is entrepreneurship. And I told you we were going to talk economic empowerment. I believe economic empowerment begins in the home. And I believe from a community perspective, it has to begin with the Black woman in terms of financial literacy, because right now, who makes most of the buying decisions in the home? It is the Black woman. Who handles a lot of the money and all that kind of stuff in the is the Black woman. So talk about being a Black woman coming up. Was financial literacy huge in your household? Did you have those round table sit downs with your parents, or was it something that you just kind of picked up as you saw how they managed the business finances and that kind of stuff?
So you know what? My dad has always been great with financials. He's always, as a small business owner, he's been a small business owner my whole life, and he always taught me about setting myself up. We talked about insurance. Like, I was helping writing checks for the business and running those things with my mom since I was about 8. And unfortunately, even though I knew a lot, I still went out and got those credit cards. I still went out and my dad tried to cut them up, just those things that you have to do. Unfortunately, then I still bumped my head, but I did have a strong base. My shopping habits, sorry, Mom, but shopping habits, my mom used to shop. She doesn't shop as much anymore, but that was a thing. And so it was like, they always paid bills on time. So credit wasn't an issue, but really saving, it was stress to me, but my mom shops, so I try, and now in my, as I grow and raise my family, to do things differently, although I do like nice things, but looking at different ways to get that, because ultimately those things don't bring wealth.
Right.
And so I can say that I did have a strong foundation in financial literacy, thankfully. When it came to taxes, like, I knew all about those things when I was like 9, 10, because I was watching my mom, look at the deposits and give the information. And probably by the time I was 12, I was taking the papers to our accountant with her, so I could understand the process. And so from there, that's when I really learned that, okay, there has to be other ways than just trading dollars for hours that we have to help. Because when my dad got sick with his business, about 2012, it was only months before that he brought someone in, because I said he's a cobbler. And so if he's not doing the work, then the work isn't being done and the business isn't open. But he happened to bring someone in. And my father finally said to me when he was in the hospital, he said, I finally feel like a business owner, because he was in the hospital, but still able to make money. And that really hurt me. It made me feel like he represented so many businesses that people are doing great work, services, products, but they don't have a succession plan, nor do they have a way to scale if they remove themselves from the equation. And so that's why it was really important to me to be a part of that journey, to help people create, not only start businesses, not only set up to grow, but put themselves to stop trading dollars for hours so that they can create residual income. And it's definitely a life changer. And even though we're behind the 8 ball, not by choice, but by design, and so with us catching up and then putting these things in place, I'm excited to see all the things that are going on with people, with Black people, especially in digital products and technology and wealth building.
Absolutely. And let me ask you this, did growing up in that entrepreneurship household, both mom and dad getting in business, did that make school difficult for you? And the reason I ask this is because I know that the way entrepreneurs think is radically different, right? And a lot of times, because we think different, we actually have our own language, and we normally bump heads. Because I didn't realize this till long after I got out of school. I'm like, this is why school wasn't what everybody thought it should be for me. Cortez, you're sharp, you're bright, you pick up things real fast. Yeah, but I'm a creative genius, and y'all won't let my genius fly. So I couldn't get with school. And you having two entrepreneurial parents, I know you thought like an entrepreneur. Did that make school challenging?
You know what? I think that it was a little less challenging because of what school I was in. So when I first went in, I was actually English pre-law, because I'm always advocating for people. So I just knew I wanted to become a lawyer. And then I also wanted to go into fashion industry. So once I got in and took some classes, met people in business, but I realized I didn't want to do straight marketing. I found out about this consumer psychology and retail marketing program, and I went there. So I was in class with a lot of creatives by the time I was a junior. Now, my freshman and sophomore years were a little bumpy because I was in class I was an English major. I was in class where I would have to tell my TA that, no, that's a Black writer. I went to a PWI. I went to University of Illinois. Love the school, but it is what it is. We would teach things, and I would end up teaching him. So that's an Afro-Caribbean writer. You're not showing his picture, but you showed this other picture. So things like that. That was my challenge. But because I end up getting to the creative space, it helped a lot. Because my friends who are now entrepreneurs who may be more in liberal arts, they had a lot of challenges because sometimes, especially if you are at a predominantly white institution, they don't give you all the information. It's really up to you to dig to decide where you want to go with the degree. But I would say that because I like to write, I was okay for a minute, and it worked out better for me to transition into consumer psychology because, like you say, my analytical mind, it was able to help me on my creative side and learning how to understand people. But if I had been straight liberal arts, or I think I would have had a worse time. And I know people who did, for that reason. And yeah.
Gotcha. So let me shout out my man, Milt Jr. from ATL, EFI Financial Education Services is in the building. My man, Idarius is also in the building. Drop the name of the brand again, Idarius. I always like to recognize my entrepreneurs when they show up on the stream, man, and show them a little bit of love. So how difficult, or let's go here, because you talked about the predominantly white institution that you were in. Talk about real quick, even if you're not an entrepreneur, but you're in these institutions as a Black woman. And I've got a great friend who I'm helping develop a product around some of this trauma that happens sometimes directly and sometimes indirectly from being in these environments. Talk about how you were able to successfully navigate and still be your authentic Black self in that environment. So, because I want our sisters to understand that it's okay to go there and leverage those resources, but please, sis, don't lose yourself in the process.
Definitely. So when I think about my experience was what it was because I took 4 other friends from East St. Louis with me. So at the time, I'm very thankful for my sisterhood. I'm very thankful for those days that I was like, I'm ready to go home. I want to drop out, coming from being a straight A student, from getting this place, and you really figuring out that you thinking things, and then people saying that's totally wrong. It was devastating sometimes. I remember I only dropped one class. It was an English class that I dropped because the way I write, I usually, at the time, I would write it down and type, or either I'll type straight from my brain to papers, and always do well in paper. I love papers. I love writing. And to actually do a rough draft like she asked and do these extra pieces, and I got a D on the paper. I was devastated. I really was, because I followed this other process that was different than my own to try, to follow this course. And I was like, no. And it wasn't so much about the D, because that's my favorite letter, Devon, right? But it wasn't that. It was really that you're saying, like, my process has worked, and not that say it will always work, but to know that I had facts to prove what I was talking about. It really took me somewhere. And even though I have a few white female friends, because I was so, you can see my personality now. I was like that in college. And so I had a very young white female teacher, and I always spoke out in class. And I really, I do think it was kind of retaliation. Now, I never experienced a lot of that in college, but I really do think that because I did not go with the way that she wanted me to approach a certain topic, that she said, okay, I got one for you. I control the grade. I'm going to give you this grade, even though I knew that everything was thoroughly done. So that happens, and because of that, you can feel crushed when you know that you've worked hard. And so between my friends, I joined the Black Student Union. Ours was CBSU, so our Central Black Student Union. We also had a house, communal house, which is now they have this huge center since I've graduated. Look, money, right? We had literally a house called the Black House that we would go in. It was an escape from campus. It was an escape. And then the university actually did do a great job, only because there were several protests that happened. And during that time that I was there, we did the commemoration of what's called, what was it? The 500, Project 500, which were the first Black students who were able to stay on campus. And that wasn't until the 70s, because it wasn't until the 1970s that Black students in totality were able to stay on campus. They used to stay in Champaign and Champaign with families. Not Urbana. Urbana is the other side of the tracks. They used to stay in Champaign with Black families. They would host them so that they could become students at the university. Wow. And so I had a chance to be a part of that commemoration. But if it were not for those outside student unions, we had what were called specialty restaurants. We had one called Soul that was every Thursday, where all they played was they played all Black music in this one particular dorm. We had soul food to eat for dinner. If those avenues had not been there, it would have been a much bigger struggle for me to feel comfortable, because it was 2% Black students in a campus of over 40,000 students. Wow! So I was literally like a dot, like a pinch of pepper in a sea of salt. Yeah. And so every time I would see someone walking, when I saw somebody, it was like a light up. It was like hey, I see you. And you get used to seeing certain people on certain days. And so seeing people that look like you in those situations is very important. And so that's what I would say that kept me from my friends that came up to school with me. And we all graduated, all have advanced degrees. Most have businesses and doing well. And then from those small pockets of melanin to see us. And you see this was the theme for my graduation. Actually, it was a Black excellence. It was young, gifted, and Black. And so I found this mug. This is one of my favorite mugs.
Love it, love it, love it. All right, guys, it is 7:23. So y'all know what time it is, man. It's time for the 1 minute motivation. We're going to share a 1 minute motivation clip, Devon, and you just write down a takeaway or two and give your thoughts on it. I'm going to give a couple takeaways. The audience loves this. This is the favorite segment of the show, because they will chime in what they got out of this. But it's going to be about 60 to 90 seconds of a motivational clip right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. We got 1 minute motivation with Devon Moody-Graham. Let's get it.
What's stopping you? Are you too tired? Didn't get enough sleep? Don't have enough energy? Don't have enough time? Is that what's stopping you right now? Don't have enough money? Is that the thing? Or is the thing that's stopping you?
Get off the pity potty. Telling everybody your sad and sob stories, trying to get people to show up to your pity pot, your environment. Do something about it. If you want it, go get it.
Recognize the excuses are not valid. They're conjured up, they're fabricated, they're lies. And how do you stop the lies? You stop the lies with the truth. And the truth is, you have time. You have the skill, you have the knowledge and the support and the willpower and the discipline to get it done.
The fruit of everything good in life begins with a challenge. Everything is uphill that's worthwhile. And it's not going to come to you, and it's not going to fall in your lap, and it's not going to be something that, oh my God, it just was so simple. It's always going to be difficult.
If you want it, you gotta go get it.
All right.
That
So
was good.
we do 1 minute motivation because I want people to understand that personal growth and self-development is always happening. We believe, most of us, that it only happens when we're doing something positive. No, if you're doing something negative, you're growing. You're just growing in the wrong direction. So give me one of your takeaways that you got, and I'll give a couple, and let's see what the audience has to say as well.
So for me, I would say, I love the part how, get out of your pity party, because no matter how you're feeling, the world is going to continue. So it's really up to us to take that strength that we have in us and to move forward, because it's not only important to us, but to the generations behind us, not only our families, but those who we're supposed to impact. And so that's where I always speak from, especially when I'm talking to my clients. If you don't do this, it's not just you messing up on the opportunity, you are impacting other people's lives, because that means that the impact that you would have had on their lives is not there, and it's a domino effect. So this isn't just you and affecting your pocket or what you are setting out to do maybe in this moment. It is necessary. And if you don't do what you're called to do, I have a problem with that, because you are messing up the domino effect, because there's so many negative things going on already. Push through, because it will be hard, and it always is hard, but it's worth it.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I wrote that one down too, man. Stop singing that sad song. Stop it. Because listen, you get what you focus on. The reticular activating system is crazy, that if whatever, I like to say it like this, all the universe knows how to do is say yes. What questions are you asking? What statements are you making for it to agree to? Oh man, that was dumb of me. And it says yes. And then it shows you something else that validates that thought. If you say, man, I'm so beautiful, you'll walk out there and somebody say, hey, beautiful. Boom, it's showing you something else that validates that thought. So when you run around singing that sad song in that pity party, then the universe just keeps showing you things to validate that, because that's what you are focused on, right? He said, how do you stop the lies? You stop the lies with the truth. And the truth are, you are wonderfully made. You are gifted. You are a genius. Say it with me now. I am a genius.
I am a genius.
If you don't like it, take it up with my creator, because he made it. He made me this way. Now, how about that? Excuses. Stop making them, because they are not valid, ladies and gentlemen. So that is 1 minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, brought to you by the 30-Day Academy, which is Devon Moody-Graham's program, which we'll get into in a moment. But I want to really have you explain to people, what is CEOMom Empire?
Yes, so CEOMom Empire is a company that I created. I actually created the company about 2 years ago after creating my CEOMom community. So I had a different consulting firm, and just like it's okay. I tell people it's okay to evolve. McDonald's, Uber, I mean, everybody evolves, changes from what they want to do. And so I said, okay, I work with people that are not moms, but me creating my CEO Mom community and me putting CEO Mom Empire was putting something out to the universe to say that, hey, despite having to build a life, having family, I can have it all. And I wanted others, no matter, even if their challenges are not the same as mine, to know that you can persevere. I tell people I planned an entire international conference with an infant. So you can't tell me what you can't do. And so everyone has their own challenges, but ultimately you can't reach those goals that are set if you create a strategy and work it. And so CEO Mom, which is a part of me because I am a CEO and I am a mom, and of course Empire, I always teach on an empire building mindset. And so you should always be building up. And so I created that company. It's a strategic marketing firm and soon to launch a full digital marketing firm that supports businesses that want to grow and scale. So I spend a lot of time with working one-on-one with people for so long, but as you already know, it takes so much time. So doing things in groups and doing things where you can affect the masses and other people's lives is really where it is, because by the end of this year, beginning of 2022, I want to have a full work from anywhere life. And that's what I'm setting up to do.
I love it. I love it. And that CEOMom deal is just the name in itself, CEOMom Empire. Because a lot of moms don't realize that they already have an empire that they built and they are the CEO of it.
Definitely.
They don't see it. And I'm so glad that you are doing that work really quickly. I see Tasha Black in the building from the Wealth Building platform is in here. I see Marshall Woodland is in the building as well. She's doing some great things here in the community. When you talk about, you said that CEO Mom community was all, and you want people to build that empire mindset. Flesh that out a little bit for us. What is your definition of an empire mindset?
So the thing is that if you don't have community, you can't build. And so when you think about an empire is not one person. It's that whole, it's that group of people. It's the people who are looking at one common vision. And so it's important that we build our tribe so that we can grow. I know we talked a little bit about, for me, I love for everybody to make money. If everyone around me is not growing, then I'm not doing my part, they're not doing their parts. And so an empire building mindset is set so with real people who have a real strategy and they work it together so that everybody wins.
I love it. I love it. Hey, if you guys have not shared the show, shame on you. I keep telling y'all, we can no longer afford to hoard information. We ain't that community. There's some other communities who they get a hold of some knowledge that grows them and they become wealthy and they can hoard it and only share it in their family. We don't have that luxury, y'all. So smash that share button and introduce Devon Moody-Graham to your following and your timeline. Also, the question of the day, if you have not already answered, the question of the day is, what worries you most about the future? What worries you most about the future? Enter QOTD and then give your answer. You guys know I give my answer at the top of the hour. So empire building mindset is all about community. Everybody has a strength. Everybody has something special to contribute. Now it's a matter of finding and networking with the right people and adding them to your tribe. I think I follow Dr. George C. Frazier's work, and he always talks about networking. And he says sometimes you're not the center of your network, so you become part of somebody else's web and their network. And I think we get that twisted. If I can't be that deal in my space, then I don't want to be part of anybody else's. But we're all connected. God created everything on this planet to be interdependent, right? That's why I breathe oxygen and the tree takes the oxygen, the carbon dioxide and turns it into oxygen for me. So Lakeisha said she shared, I appreciate that. Talk about strategy, right? You deal with a lot of small businesses. What would you say some of the biggest hurdles or some of the things that are holding them back more than, because I see sometimes it's little things. What's holding some of these small businesses back to getting to the next level?
Themselves. It's like, in a nutshell, it's themselves. And you know what? It's so funny because I made this quote and I say it in different ways all the time, but literally every person has everything that they need. They just need to get out of their own way and leap. It's not going to be perfect. The thing is,
wait a minute. I'm going to need you to run that one back. What do you say? Every person have what?
Every single person, we already have what we need. We just need to get out of our own ways and leap.
Yeah.
And so my acronym for LEAP is to learn, evaluate, act, and process, and repeat that.
Learn,
You got to learn, evaluate, act, and process.
Love it, love it, love it. That's
really what it comes down to, because we don't take enough time to sit and think about what's around us. So right now, like my thing has been in the last few videos I've made is stop being broke. I love a good acronym. And so broke, of course, it comes down to barely reaching our known expectations. And these are things that you can do. Of course, we got imposter syndrome that comes in. Even though you've done all of these things, you still doubt yourself. And those are nothing but tricks. It's only tricks to keep you from going forward. And so when I say that, it's say first, look at those people who are around you. If those people are not the people that you need to be around in order to get to your future self, you need to spend less time with those people and identify people that can help you get to your future self. And so people say, what is my future self? What is my future self? What is that thing? What are those things that you think about? Even if you have not acted, what are those things or ways that you would like your life to be? What is the income level? What are the everyday activities? If you are not around people that can help you get to that, you need to decrease the number of times. It's not saying drop everybody. It's saying decrease the amount of time that you spend with people who are not helping you to get to your future self. Yeah. That's the first thing. And those are things we have to look at the assets and liabilities around us. And assets and liabilities are not just dollars. They translate into dollars, but who is an asset in your life? Who is a liability? It's literally that. What activities are asset? If you say you want to lose weight, but you go and stop at Jack in the Box and spend $10 every other day, that's a liability. You can't reach that goal if you are spending $10 at Jack in the Box to get egg rolls. I love the egg rolls from Jack in the Box too, but I don't do it often. But if you say you're going to reach this goal, you can't do that. So things have to be in alignment with your goals. So you have to make sure that you have more assets than liabilities in your personal life, in your professional life, and in your romantic life as well.
Yeah, and that's huge, man. And I often talk about that same power of association. And here's one of the reasons that people struggle with, spending less time with the people that are not necessarily pushing them or pulling them or helping propel them to the next level, is because sometimes, Devon, these people were with us during some of our darkest moments, right? And we feel guilty about leaving them behind. But listen, people, there's a lot of people that I had to start spending less time with. They all have an open invitation to come hang out with your boy in this version of myself. But I was not going to stay the old version of myself because they were not growing. So Diamond Anderson said, love it. Great information. Lakeisha answered the question of the day. Lack of knowledge about how to gain wealth is one of her biggest fears. So when we're in this strategic place, we know you help small businesses. Can you give us 2 or 3 strategic moves that a small business solopreneur, maybe somebody who's only got a couple employees, what are a couple of strategic moves, coming out of COVID, right? Caused a lot of devastation. A lot of businesses were not able to pivot. I've been telling them for 6 years, y'all need an online presence. You never know what's going to happen, right? But in 2021, what are some of the top 2 or 3 strategic moves you're helping people understand and start to implement in their small businesses?
So the very first one, which really came out of COVID and something that I was pressing even before, get your paperwork in order. People are not able to take advantage of some of the unprecedented dollars. Like this will never happen again in our lifetime. The amount of funding that had to come out, the relief. And if you never created an EIN, never created the LLC, never got a business bank account, those are things that kept people from receiving at least some funds for their businesses. So that's one thing. The second thing I would say is prepare for tomorrow. Right now, I'm in the process, and it's so funny because I'm always going to be transparent. I've helped people get government contracts, and you can go into I've helped people get, whether it's state funds, federal funds, government contracts, and over $4+ million. Like, and guess what? I had not had my own DUNS number set up. I set up people in DUNS, registration stamps. I did not do it right.
Didn't do it for yourself.
Do it for myself. And so I'm making them get everything in order. And that happens with consultants. So because we get so engulfed and everyone else's success, it's like, oh, I forgot to do this for myself.
Yeah.
And so I finally did that. Boom. This week I closed 2 5-figure contracts.
Wow.
You prepare for tomorrow. Look, as they say, stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
That's right. That's right.
This has been a great week. It was like, okay, I'm prepared. So prepare for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. So you got prepare for tomorrow and get your paperwork in order. And I don't think a lot of people understand how simple, how they were. I mean, the money was just out there, right? Somebody just almost dared me to apply. And I was like, man, 5 figures. Okay, I'll take it. It was just, and it was like, the Small Business Association. So now I'm on their radar. I'm in their system. So as I continue to grow and scale my business and make good on those funds, then I'm more likely to get funds in the future as well. I know that you are recently into the digital space, and I want to talk about that a little bit, but I want to go back to the moms for a second, because I didn't get to this question about them being CEOs or already running empires. They just don't see it that way. And you hit on something that we all struggle with, imposter syndrome. Would you talk to the CEO moms out here and help them understand how much value is in them right now with what they are already doing? Some of the skills required to run a household are marketable and monetizable skills. Would you talk to them? Because maybe they don't hear it coming from me because I'm a man. Cortez, you don't know what it's like. Would you tell them they got skills, and that's where my book Monetize My Life comes from? Take those skills that you have and let's monetize those things.
So I'm going to say, first, let me put my credibility out there, right, for the moms. So I'm a mom ×4 giving birth, and I raised 6. So I got this mom thing going, right? Not always, it's always crazy. So I have toddlers to an adult. And so throughout that process, it's very challenging to run a business with children. But what I've learned to do is to include my children in my business. So my son, who's 16, before I was married, he's about to be 16 next week. He's been going to meetings with me since he was a few months old. When I was finishing college, he was in them, and I had a pumpkin seed, and he was with me. And when I went to grad school, he was with me when I signed up. He was with me when I used to go to meetings. And so from there, you start where you are. And that's why it was so important for me to create an environment for women to be able to bring their children. And I feel like I can't do anything because I don't have a babysitter. So just like that last quote, stop making excuses. And that's even for moms. You are running an entire household. You have administrative skills, you're scheduling, you're doing payroll, you're paying vendors, you're a chauffeur, you have all these skills, and you just have to figure out what are those things that you love to do and that you're great at, because you can definitely monetize those things.
Yeah, I love it. And I think they have to understand that the things that come easy to you are the things that we value the least. And they are the most valuable, right? They come easy to you because that's a gift from your creator. And the things that everybody is always asking you for help with, that's a sign that says, hey, if people are always coming to me saying, Cortez, can you help me get online? Okay, let me build a process around what I do to help people get online, and boom, I got a service to sell. And I think single moms in general, especially those who just don't see the value and the worth, and they don't understand that they can connect with somebody like you and help them on that journey. Let's talk real quick before we go into the digital space. about the power of the side hustle, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of, I see from my limited view, right? You're in this space, right? I see a lot of corporate moms, a lot of career women leaving a lot of money on the table because they see a side hustle as petty, right? Can you speak to that? Do you see that in your space? Because you're in that space. I'm just looking from afar, and maybe I'm off on that.
And you know what? So I actually just had this conversation with somebody on Clubhouse about the extension of services. So for those who love what they do in their day job, you still have so much, you see gaps in whatever their industry is. So that's your opportunity to create that extended income. And so what I would say, I mean, I know not everyone is entrepreneurial, but what I would say for people who think that it is a waste of their time, maybe pass the opportunity on to someone else. I don't understand, and I guess it's just because the way I'm wired, I don't understand why people would want to leave that money on the table, especially because it's easy money. This is the industry you're in. Even for educators that I know that created tutoring services, or people, or either they went to a totally different space. For people who are in healthcare, who may do some type of counseling during the day, but they're working with a different group, you have insights to your industry. There are gaps. If you already know those gaps and you can fill those so easily, why not fill those gaps? And I guess, well, not I guess, I know it's because the title that I give myself is the Chief Solutions Officer, because we create solutions. We create solutions daily. So why not create those solutions that will help you in the long run? So I really think it's all about mindset. Yeah. And they don't, sometimes they have a fear of that they know this gap exists, but they're not able, or they don't feel like they're able. That's imposter syndrome. They don't feel like they're qualified. Now, you know you're qualified. That's when it goes back to the mindset, the broke mindset. You barely reach your known expectations. You know what you're capable of, but you still decide to not do it because maybe there's a lack of fear. Maybe you feel that someone else is going to look at you some type of way. But until you can wipe out all those external feelings and really do what is innate in you then it's nothing that we can do. Look, it's nothing we can do for them if they don't shift their minds to say that, hey, there's an extension of services that I can help, even if I do love what I do in my day job.
Yeah, and I have a perfect example of filling the gap, right? One of my associates, Stephanie Jordan, 20 plus years in HR. So thousands of interviews she's conducted, tens of thousands of resumes she's read. So now she has her own business helping people interview, resume writing. And it's like, you already do that. You know, why not just do what you do? And you know, people are showing up to interviews all raggedy. So there's a problem. They don't understand that there's a best way to do that. So she created a whole coaching program around that. And that's what people can do in this space with their gifts, talents, and special abilities. And shameless plug time, I've got a boot camp coming up next week where I'll actually teach you how to do that, how to turn your intellectual property, intellectual capital into intellectual property, right? That you can market and sell online. All you got to do is comment keyword boot camp, and I will get you the link to get enrolled for that. $47, guys. I'm going to show you 7 different ways to turn what you know into products so you can make money online in your spare time. Speaking of digital products and intellectual capital, how's it going with you entering into this digital space? I'm checking out some of your live videos on IG, and I see that you're really developing your voice and understanding exactly what you want to communicate and how you want to communicate it. So how's the journey into the digital world so far?
It's interesting. It's definitely interesting, but I'm getting more into the swing of things because it's so crazy that I'm used to teaching. I've been adjunct professor for like over 10 years. And even with doing that, it's different because I want to get straight. This isn't an hour lecture. I want, to be able to provide a few minutes of information that can help people to actually react. And so I'm really big on giving people information that they can use. And that's really why I developed the 30-Day Academy, because things that took me 12 years to learn, very expensive lessons, learn contracts, just all these things that I've done and did not understand properly. I really wanted to be able to bring to people a training that I would get to the point. I like to get straight to the point. Let them understand their business model, because we have so many people who are operating businesses, but they don't even understand their own business model.
Right.
Everything is transactional. They're just like, okay, I bought these lashes, I will sell these lashes. They have no idea around anything else but that. And so it still leads to them doing things that they're leaving money on the table because they don't truly understand their business model and the value that they're adding. I made just kind of created a company, and I hope that maybe someone who's in the lash industry heard what I said on Clubhouse and hears it today. I said, what if you were a mom that has a lash business, and if you're still doing extensions in a space, but you had a side room in which if they had children, they can, play their device, or they had a toy, what that would change the game, because even though there's an hourly service, you will have increased clients, and then you can even bring on other people because you have a space that they can say, hey, I can still have some time for myself, even though I have my child with me. I know that she sold this business, but I used to go to a black nail tech. I still go to a black nail tech now. It's time for me to go again. But I went to one who she had a space. At the time, I had 2 small children when I was going to her. I had a pumpkin seat, and I had a 3-year-old. And she brought out, I was about to cry. The value adds for business are important, and how you make people feel. She brought me out a glass of wine. She had my daughter in this cute little area and gave her, she watched the movie, and my baby in the pumpkin seat, she was asleep. I had an hour and a half to just like relax. And that's why I went to her. So people have to understand the real value and not make everything so transactional within their own business, because people, once they have that experience, I'll continue to buy things from you online. And once I've had that service experience, you can get me as a customer 2 ways. Just understanding their business model is, those are things that we're going to make sure that we understand. We're going to work on strategies specific to industry and create a plan so that you can actually learn how you can grow your business and ultimately scale, because that's the goal. We don't scale enough Black businesses. We don't scale enough.
Yeah. And I did a show just yesterday where I talked about going beyond retail, right? I mean, I love that you are an entrepreneur and you are in business. And by the way, guys, if you have not answered the question of the day is, what worries you most about the future? Put QOTD in the comments, then your answer. That's how you get entered into the drawing to win the free vacation next Wednesday. And I also put the link to Devon's 30-day academy right there in the comments for you. But I love that we are in business. Right. Most of us get in business in the retail space, selling a product or service, but we got to get beyond retail. Somebody has to become the wholesaler. Somebody has to become the buyer. Somebody has to become the manufacturer. And then that all goes back to us getting back to the land and creating the raw materials for all of this stuff. And that's how we create the jobs, because in the retail space, unless you become a Walmart, chances are you're only going to be able to hire a couple people. Right. In the wholesale space, you're hiring a few more people because you probably got a warehouse and you probably got some delivery drivers. Right. As a buyer, you're in distribution. And I mean, it's a whole big thing. So skill is important. Also, I think one of the things that we struggle with is, like you said, not having the paperwork in order. So 2 big things that I'm in the space and helping people with, that is business credit and business funding. And then that is also the marketing, right? If you don't have the funding to market, then you better understand social media, right? Do you see this in your space where these businesses feel they're too good to do a Facebook Live or to be on these social media platforms? I've seen it and I'm like, man, this is free. Leverage it.
Yes. And you know what? Outside of the excuses that I hear, one I hear is time. The other excuse I hear, well, actually the excuse that they're not making is that they're really afraid. They may say that, I feel like, oh, I don't need to do that. But they know they're leaving money on the table. They're literally afraid because they are they really think about saturation. Your video, you have your own network. You have and then you have the network of those you're connected to. And so why not create that other stream of income and that other tunnel to new people by just simply doing a video? And I've had that excuse of time, and I literally started just recording videos on my phone, because some of the last videos I recorded those late at night, might have been probably after midnight, and then posted them afterwards. So do what works for you. Everything else is different. You don't have to do the same thing. You don't have to do what everyone else does. Do what works for you. Get that content out there so that people can know who you are.
Real quick, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you, and then I got to get my response to the question of the day. And man, it is almost 8 o'clock. How can everybody get in touch with you?
Okay, so you can get in touch with me. I am on Facebook, Devon Moody-Graham. I'm on Instagram as Devon Moody-Graham. You can follow CEOMom Empire as well on Instagram. I am also on LinkedIn, and you can Google me, Devon Moody-Graham. You can Google me, so you can find me everywhere. And I love to connect. I saw some comments in here about partnership. Let's definitely connect, because I'm all about collaboration and partnership. And I just want everyone to get out of their own way. Can I answer the question of the day too?
Absolutely. Go ahead and give it to them. Well, let me set it up because this always becomes a standalone clip. So right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, we do something called the question of the day, and I give my response. The audience gives their response. We got a special guest with us, Devon Moody-Graham. She wants to give her response too. So what is the question of the day? What worries you most about the future?
What worries me most is that the division that has started in the community amongst ourselves. I just think that sometimes it may impede the progress that we can make. We're better together. And so I just pray that we can stay with the momentum of coming together and not looking at all the differences, because us, especially as the Black community, we have to stick together. If we don't stick together, then the future is bleak. And so I just, that's the only thing that worries me, really, because like I said, we have everything that we need. And because of other external forces, that's why they come against us so hard, because we literally have everything that we need. And when we put it in action, we are bad in a good way, right? So that's my only fear, is that if we don't come together, then our future will be bleak.
I love it. In the words of my good friend Evan Jefferson, founder of the Black Billionaires Club, we all we got and we all we need. And that is enough, right? So my answer to the question of the day is one that's a little personal. And one of the things that worries me about the future is that my children may never discover their true purpose, right? It took me a long time, Devon, to find that which God put in me and called me to do, what he created me special to do. And sometimes it worries me that they may never do that, because people literally live their whole lives and never discover their purpose for why they were created on this earth. And I want them to experience what I experienced, because for the first 26 or 27 years of my life, Devon, I tried really, really hard to convince the world that I really was who I was pretending to be. And it took me to literally lose my mind to figure out and fall head over heels, helplessly and hopelessly in love with Cortez Springer. And I hope my children get to experience that. And I hope that for y'all children, I hope that for everybody, because there's two important days in your life. It's the day you were born and the day you figure out why. And I'm blessed to have figured out that why for myself. So that is the question of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, brought to you by Devon Moody-Graham's 30-Day Academy, where you will learn how to get your business in order, because you're not a businessman or woman, you're a business man or woman. So take care of your business. Until we talk to you next time, we want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. Now hustle up. But you've got to overcome fear if you're going to win.
You're tuned into the Cortez Hustle Show. Please like and subscribe.